Today we have a sister story, and our sister story today is with Sister Peggy Fornicola. And Peggy lives in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. So we are way up north in Michigan to hear how she got to be an Adrian Dominican sister many years ago. So Peggy, thank you for your willingness to say yes to the interview. You know, you're a hidden treasure to a lot of us because we don't know that much about you. I know I've mentioned your name to several people. And Peggy Fornicola. I said, oh, she's been up north for a long time. So anyway, I think once we tell your story and you get on the congregation website, you'll just become famous. Okay? All right, so let us start with the beginning, like where you grew up and what your family life was like. And let's start there and we'll just see what happens. Okay, so it's yours.
Well, I was born to, my parents were Bernadette and Joseph Fornicola. They married quite late in life. My dad was 40, my mother was 32. And then they had 4 children, bing, 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 bing. There's very little space between the 4 of us. So my brother was born first, and presently he lives in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Then I was second.
What's his name?
His name, official name is Charles Joseph. We call him Skip. And I don't know why. We just grew up with that.
Okay.
Okay, then myself, and I was born Mary Margaret.
Okay, Mary Margaret.
But a little history there, we had a relative whose name was Mary. I hate giving these negatives, but it all came about. Some of my relatives did not care for this person, and they would not call me Mary. So they tagged on Peggy.
Okay.
So I've been Peggy to all my family and relatives, except when I went to school. After me, my sister Phyllis Ann was born. She is deceased. She passed away about 1.5 years ago, just around Christmas time. And then after her was my youngest sister, Karen, and she lives here in the Sioux. In fact, she lives in the apartment right next door to me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, it's very, very nice. I attended St. Joseph Catholic School, which was taught by the Adrian Dominican Sisters. Okay. And so that was my introduction to the sisters.
The North had many Adrian Dominicans, weren't there, up in northern Michigan?
At one time, we did in the Upper Peninsula.
Quite a few.
Unfortunately, I am the only Adrian Dominican in the Upper Peninsula now. So, and in fact, I'm the only sister here in Sault Ste. Marie at this time.
Oh, no other sisters are up there, congregations?
Not anymore. There is one sister who works in social work. I never see her. I have tried to communicate with her, but I never get any reciprocation back. And I think she's an IBVM, I believe. And she also is a native of the Sioux. I went to school with her brothers, but that is, so be it. Let's see.
So when did you graduate?
From high school?
High school.
Well, and I would have graduated in 1963, but I was one of those high schoolers who left after her sophomore year.
Okay.
I was only 15.
Okay.
Went to Adrian, and another classmate of mine, the 2 of us went. In fact, I always attribute my vocation to her because she was so engrossed with the sisters, and she was going to enter the convent. And I felt like, well, I'm going to do that too. I felt like, so I tagged along. Well, we entered in June of 61. And she...
But you went to the academy or the prep school?
Yeah,
for
right.
2 years.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
And how was that experience?
It's not real strong of a memory in my mind. Okay. To be honest with you.
Yeah, we want you to be honest.
I know that I was taking classes at the postulancy, because all those rooms were like classrooms or dormitories at that time. And I remember learning Latin in one of those rooms right in the mother house on the second floor it would be. But it was associated, yes, with the academy. The Shauna, the girl who entered with me, left that October and did not pursue her vocation as a religious woman. So I was on my own. After profession, which was in 1963, I stayed in at the mother house. There were 6 of us from our crowd, and we did different things. And one of the things I remember at that time, we went to the seminary in Plymouth, Michigan.
Right, St. John's. Mm-hmm.
Right. And we did house cleaning and those kinds of things.
Right, that's right. That's what this,
Right. So then after that, then I was, after summer school, after going back and then having to do summer school in Adrian, I was missioned to St. Albert the Great in Oakland.
When you made profession, I neglected to ask, what was your religious name?
Oh, my
sister name.
Sister was Sister Joseph Carolyn.
Sister Joseph Carolyn. And how did you get that name?
Well, I wanted Sister Joseph Bernadette or Sister Bernadette Joseph because that was my mom and dad's name.
Okay.
But there was both, a Joseph Bernadette and a Bernadette Joseph. So I have a cousin who presently now is 81 years old and been very close to her. So Carolyn is her name. And so I took Carolyn.
Okay.
Her.
Okay. Because many people know us, if you had a religious name, by that name. They don't know us by our new name. And a lot of people watch this on YouTube, the sister stories. So, and they think, oh, now I wonder if, my teacher is on there. So, but they only know you. So thank you for helping us out on that one. Okay, so now you're back to your first mission?
Yes, which was St. Albert the Great in Oak Lawn, Illinois. We had probably about 17 sisters living in the convent at that time. We all taught in the school. My grade was first grade. My first assignment was St. Albert the Great in Oak Lawn, Illinois.
Okay.
At that time, there were 17 sisters in the convent. There were about 3 or 4 of us that were young persons like me, like our first mission. And I was assigned a first grade classroom, and I had 51 students.
Right. Those were the days.
Oh, yes. Amazing that they learned anything. But in this school, there were 5 first grades, and all of them had equal number.
Mm-hmm.
And there was...
But, the other interesting thing, those were the days that we had the habit.
Absolutely.
Right? We had the habit. And we had parents who, respected the teachers, lay or sisters, and they supported the teachers. So it was a totally different environment at that time. And we had rows of kids. We had,
Oh, my goodness. You certainly couldn't have the things that we do today in class.
No. Okay.
Yes,
That's
you do
good.
a reading group and you had something like 20 kids in
Right.
one reading group. But,
Exactly.
but students were different back
Yes.
almost 60 years ago. We didn't, of course, we had some discipline problems, but in my teaching later years, smaller classes, certainly the discipline was much more difficult than it was when
Hmm.
I had those 50 back in there. I continued at St. Albert's for 5 years. During that time, my mother became ill and did pass away. And I was allowed to go home, and well, before she passed away. On my way to see her at the hospital, she had passed before I got there. But she was very young. She was only 56 years old at that
Hmm.
time. Um, I think that was my fourth year in at Albert's, and that at that time we always had the I can't remember if they were called provincials or
Whatever. Yeah.
yeah, Rita Marie was the sister, and
Okay.
she came for visitation, and we were chatting, and it was brought up about my mother passing away, and my father and being so far from home, being in Illinois opposed to Sault Ste. Marie. And the following year, I was changed to the Upper Peninsula, the western end, which was Iron Mountain, Michigan.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And we had several sisters there teaching in the school. Um, in fact, for the size of the house, 7 was a big number for the size of that house. So we were using the house key. It used to be the rectory, and the pastors switched them so that the house next to the church, which had been the convent, would become the rectory, and the convent was next to the school. So
Okay.
that um, I taught my first year, I believe it was a combined class of first and second graders, which made it large. There were, again, we had a couple classes there for a while of the same grades. And I'm not sure what the timeline was, but after that, I had a single grade. And in a couple years after being there, the schools or the parishes, not the parishes, the schools consolidated. We had a school on the north side of town and a school downtown, which is where I was. And because of the enrollment declining, even then, we combined, and the primary grades were in the north side building, which then I had to travel up there to teach because I was primary, and the older children were downtown. After a few more years, that school closed on the north side, and we became one consolidated school, which fed in 3 parishes, which were in the Iron Mountain, Kingsford area.
Hmm.
I've always been a primary teacher. I've always been first, second, or third grade.
Okay.
And I was in Iron Mountain for 28 years. I have not, my obituary is going to read very little movement, unfortunately, but it
Uh-huh.
is the way. My last 4 years in Iron Mountain, I became the principal. And there were just 2 of us left in the house at that time. Sabina Jabor,
Oh, great. Yes.
Yeah, she was not a teacher. She was, I suppose we'd call a pastor associate. She visited the homebound and the sick, and that was her ministry. When she was unable to do that and had to go to Adrian, then I was the last sister in the school. And after the 4 years of being a principal was not my strong point. I did not have any experience or education for that. And they were very, very hard years. So I was approached at a principal's meeting in our diocesan office one day by the principal in Sault Ste. Marie, whom I had gotten to know quite well. And she just very quietly said to me after the meeting, I'm going to have some openings in my school next year. And she walked away.
Oh.
And I went home for Christmas that year.
How far away is Iron Mountain from you, the Sioux?
It's about a 4-hour drive.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And during that time also, my father had passed away in 1980. This was 1996 when I made the decision. Had called her when I was home at Christmas and asked her if she still had those openings for next year. And she said, yes. You want an application?
Good.
And I said, no, I have the same application in my office. I'll just fill it out and send it to you.
Oh, that's good. So you decided to move. Okay.
I did. And I went through, I had to have an interview by the principal at that time and so forth, but I was hired. So I moved to from Iron Mountain to Sault Ste. Marie in 1996. Yes. And of course, there was no convent there anymore. So I had to get an apartment. My family was very gracious in helping me find an apartment. The first apartment I was in, I was there for 10 years.
How was that for you, leaving a sense of community and then going off on your own into the apartment?
It was extremely different. It was, fortunately, I still connected at that time. I don't recall now if we were mission groups by them, if we were
some group, government group,
which consisted mostly of sisters in the Upper Peninsula. But we would have, over those years, we had sisters that would join from other areas besides just the Upper Peninsula, maybe just one.
Yeah.
Like Jean Wiest.
Yes.
Or in our group.
From Wisconsin area, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Leona Brook.
Okay.
And were a part of that at one time also.
Okay.
But then
so really, what do you do for mission groups now? You go to Chicago?
I have to go to Chicago because our mission group here had to close. It was only 2 of us left, Joanne Jokey and I.
Correct.
And we both joined a group in Chicago, the same mission group.
Okay.
Now, most people do not know this, but because the Detroit area is closer for me when I fly, I have to either go from Detroit to Chicago or from the Sioux to Minneapolis to Chicago. And after our meeting in Detroit, our big gathering we had
last year, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I started seriously thinking that it might be to my benefit, both physically as well as monetarily, to just be able to fly to Detroit and belong to a mission group somewhere in
Oh,
that area.
smart.
I have not told anybody this.
Well, now you've told everybody.
I know I have, but I will contact the people more important before this goes out, I hope. I know that my Kathy Klingon is aware of that because we talked about it just in casual conversation.
Yeah.
And I believe my delegate from the mission group, because she made some reference one day, but she said, but I'll let you tell the sisters. So I have not told them that.
Well, you really have, Peggy, by doing what you just did. You really have.
That you did finding out this way, but I'm hoping that you will forgive me and we'll talk about it.
Well, that's good. It's a great time to looking at it as we're in flux right now.
Right.
Yes, with that whole chapter thing.
Yeah, and I think it'll be in 21. It won't be right now. I will stay with this group until everything is
smart,
settled. And then I've already pursued. I've gone through our congregation list of sisters and took all the Great Lakes chapters, and I've written them down, and I've written them all into the different mission groups, so I kind of know who in the mission groups.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah. So as far as community, it's difficult, but telephone is, a good way to stay in touch. And of course now with the virtually, we've had the mission groups that way since the pandemic, and we've had with the other mission groups from the other areas.
Right.
So, but as I said, most of my, going back to your original question about changing from living with community and then by myself, I'm okay with it. It makes me more, I feel, responsible for my spiritual life. I don't have people say it's time to say morning prayer. It's time, and it makes me more aware that I have to reach out to our sisters via the phone, which I'm not always the best at, I must admit. Mm-hmm. Email is I like to email people more than I do telephone, but because I'm on the telephone a lot I'm quite involved with the parish here, and I've been asked to work with liturgy, not liturgy as far as celebrations, but the ministers that participate in liturgies, Eucharistic ministers, lectors, and so forth. Mm-hmm. It's been, during this pandemic, it's been a challenge. Okay. We're now trying to get back into that and to get people, because a lot of people still aren't going to church yet. And even though our church is open to be able to celebrate Eucharist. Mm-hmm.
Well, and up north, you were a region that were not as involved with not the pandemic, with the COVID. You all kept yourselves well, but I think with all the people going up there for vacationing, et cetera, it may have done something to your area for sure. So right now you're retired, so to speak, whatever we mean by that, but you're involved in your church, and you're involved with your prayer and presence with your neighbors and that. Yes. Another thing that people have done our sisters have done during this pandemic is calling people a lot. It's another way to stay connected.
Yes.
So,
and I've been very grateful to sisters, a few in Adrian that have contacted me.
Good.
And I haven't been as good at that, but I have in my parish, at first at the
Good.
beginning, I've called parishioners that
Yes.
I were unable to, and I've tried really
Mhm.
hard to stay with that. As far as you said, I was retired, whatever that means.
Yeah.
I have, since my retirement, tutored a young man who is cognitively impaired, and I've been with him. He'll be in 8th grade this year.
Wow.
Last year with him, I think. And then last year, the principal of the school asked that I be a reading support person for students in whatever grade who are behind their grade level, to work with them. So basically, I'm kind of almost there almost all day.
Oh,
So.
sure. And your presence in the area, because you're known as, Sister Peggy, just your presence, I'm sure, elicits a lot of conversation with people. What would you say at this time of life you are most passionate about?
Well, I have to admit, because it's so much a part of me, is the teaching.
Good.
I was excited that my principal had asked that of me, because it kept me in touch with the students. But yet physically I wasn't able to do that anymore because of certain arthritis and
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah.
But this way I'm still in touch. My parish is very important. My work in the parish and being in touch with the people, I really take that very seriously. Sometimes my sister tells me I'm too serious about it. But anyway,
What do you do for fun?
oh my goodness. I'm trying to think before the pandemic. I mean, before the
Yeah.
virus.
Well, you should be doing fun right now during the pandemic too.
Oh, well, I do. I like to read.
Good.
I've read more spiritual books than I have
Good.
throughout, but I'm also a mystery buff. I like to read mystery books. And then I take those books, I send them to my friend in Chicago, Sister Mary Horvat. Hi, Mary.
Oh, my friend Mary, I know. Yes, yeah.
She reads that kind of book, and then she passes them on to another one of our sisters who likes mysteries too. So that way.
Back to your spiritual books. What spiritual reading would you recommend to us?
Well, right now and I'm waiting for it to come. I've been every day I have a quote from Dynamic Catholic.
Okay, about Kelly.
And there have been many quotes from Matthew Kelly's book.
Yeah, Matthew.
I heard Jesus laugh, or heard God laugh. And I thought, so it just came out on press and we were able, so I just ordered it. I'm waiting for it to come. But I love the quotes from that book that I have received.
What are you most proud of that's been part of your lifetime about yourself?
Oh my goodness. I don't think of those things.
Well, you think that you've got to be proud of something.
Well,
You've done a lot.
I'm very proud of my teaching.
Yeah, it's a gift.
Many parents, and I think I have had many students, former students, who keep in touch with me, which brings tears to my eyes sometimes.
Good.
But I've
That's a gift.
That gift. That's a gift. Yeah.
And they've been a gift as well back to you. This recording does go to YouTube.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes your students will see that. I never told my family I had about this, but the nieces and nephews always, are on that, so they kind of tell them.
Oh.
So,
well, that was my sister and my cousin. They said, "Well, are we going to get to see it?"
Yes. Yeah.
after, not the day of, but after.
Yeah. We'll get it out there. Yeah, when they least expect. So that's good. So, is there anything else about you that, I mean, I've learned a lot about you that I didn't know about you because you were just far away.
Right.
And who goes up north? The last time I saw you was when that bishop was, oh my word, who was that bishop that we got flown up there to be part of that installation? And we called you and you met with us. We had lunch together.
Yes, we did.
I can't think of his name. He's
Sam,
gone. Yeah.
well, Bishop
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah. So that was, but we all knew. We said, let's get in touch with Peggy Fornicola.
Oh, and that's wonderful. And that's, one thing that not too many of our sisters are able to come up here. I know Jean Keeley came several years back. Of course, when we had our mission group, Teresa Reynolds, may she rest.
Right. Oh God, yes.
Very, very close. And, so that was very good.
So did you answer my questions? What do you, what would you be surprised about you that we don't know?
Oh, well.
Besides you like murder mysteries.
I like to do hooked rugs, and I have done during this time of, I'm not totally quarantined now because we have a little bit more freedom, but I'm careful. I've completed one. I've had these for like 3 or 4 years, a friend of mine gave, and I never finished them. So I pulled them out during this time, and I finished one, and I'm on the second one. So I do enjoy that. I every day do word searches.
Okay.
I do in the newspaper every day. They have a what do you call it? Crossword.
Oh, and that's good. I can propose.
I'm not real good at that, but then I save the paper because the answers are on the next night, so I could try to
Good. Wonderful.
So I'm doing that. Read.
Where do you think the Spirit is leading you at this time of your life?
I'm feeling that to a deeper prayer life because because I live alone, because I have the time, I've really tried to develop. I know one thing in last couple years that I really did not do, which is along the spiritual part. I didn't really say the rosary. I would lead the rosary in church occasionally when we were doing that. But I got into saying the rosary every day when my sister was so ill a couple years ago. And now I don't want to ever miss that again.
Okay.
So that's really been for my spiritual life. And to meditate on those mysteries is important to me now. I see, as long as I'm able to continue helping children in the school.
Wonderful.
As long as I'm able to do that and I'm being effective. I kind of would like to get out of the parish working in the ministries, but I know I'm good at it, but it's also tedious.
Yeah, so maybe what you just have to look at that, and maybe that's the best thing you can do for yourself at this time. Look at the kids. I don't know how the kids are learning. Are they going back to school up there?
We are planning. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to begin August 27th, which is unusual. And we're only going to go 2 days, 1 week, 3 days the next. We're going to ease into it.
Smart.
So that after the Labor Day weekend, we'll be full. We'll be going full time then.
And you have a background in the primary that is direly needed. Yeah, that would be great.
To me, if you don't get it, some of that foundation there, it's very difficult to get it beyond that time. So
Okay.
I feel important that I can do that
Good.
for children.
So, and you stay connected with the congregation, and tomorrow night we're going to have the talk with the council, you know. But yeah, so that's good that you stay connected in that way. Well, I'm most grateful for your willingness to say that you'd do this. And then, of course, I didn't hear from you in your note about I haven't forgotten. That was priceless. I thought, okay, because I have others that said, "Oh, ask me in August." Well, I said I wrote it to someone the other day. I said I'm still waiting, but this is a true gift you give to us, and it's real important, and especially as you're thinking of other ways of movement within the congregation. So anyway,
well, I appreciate
blessings.
you keeping
Yes.
asking me. It wasn't and isn't a comfort zone for me
Mhm.
but I appreciate your
Yeah.
asking me and able to do this.
Okay. Well, I don't, as I say, it probably won't be out for 2 or 3 weeks, but anyway, we thank you, Peggy. Especially, I like your name, Peggy Fornicola,
Likewise.
Sister Mary Margaret, Sister Joseph Carolyn.
Carolyn, yes.
So however we want to know you. I was Peggy as a kid, but I'm Peg now.
Oh, well.
Except with the nieces and nephews. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends who it is.
Sister Peg. Well, God bless you. And if you need help trying to find a good mission group, just let me know, because I belong to Great Lakes.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. God bless you. And thank you so much.